So do you use an attorney in case that is needed?
It's a last case scenario. I haven't yet.
Okay.
I haven't
Yeah.
yet.
Well, I've had a little bit worse experiences. Hi, everyone. This is me, Elda, with the Selling Sunshine Realty Group, and I am here with Manuel Mata. He is going to be talking to us about real estate and property management. How much as agents can we do property management and so forth? It's going to be an interesting topic. Congratulations, Manuel, on
Thank
your
you.
new business.
Yeah,
I
thank
know
you.
you've been doing this for a while, but now you actually have a business of property management.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got started on real estate.
Okay, so I've been licensed for about 12, 13 years now.
Uh-huh.
And actually, the reason I got licensed was because I wanted to be an investor.
Uh-huh.
And so before I got licensed, I took a hard look at what I wanted to do in my life
Mm-hmm.
and what kind of business I wanted to open up. And I said, well, I want to be an investor. And one of the best ways to be an investor and learning about real estate is getting licensed.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I was told. And so I jumped into it, got licensed, joined a couple of brokerages, and started learning about the process about real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the idea was to become an investor or work within on the investment field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because at this point you had a home that you wanted to lease.
Yeah, so I had a home, and the idea when I first bought the house,
Uh-huh.
even this is before I even had an inkling that I was going to be an
Uh-huh.
investor or
Uh-huh.
a real estate agent. I was like, well, if I buy a house and I hold it for a little while, then I'll move into the next house, but I'll hold this one. And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of has to do with the fact that my family had investment properties when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that always kind of stuck in the back of my mind that, well, I'm just going to continue doing that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I bought my first house back in 2005, I kind of just knew that that was what I wanted to do. I knew that that was it, but it wasn't like, let's make a profession out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, well, I'm going to hold it, rent it out, maybe buy another one, hold that one. Kind of just a slow process on there.
Uh-huh.
Nothing like I say, hey, I'm going to be a professional investor yet.
Yes.
So.
And then 12 years later, you decide to start your business. So, one of the important things about your business is that you actually couldn't just go into property management. Can you explain why?
So being a property, so there's two differences, right? And so you have to know exactly what kind of where you work in your brokerage, if a brokerage allows it,
Mm-hmm.
because there's two differences in terms of, first of all, it's the same license.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same real estate license that you can do. So you can sell real estate, you can do property management. The difference is in the liability and are the E&O insurance, and are you properly protected on the insurance side? Some insurances, some brokerages don't allow property management to occur because their E&O insurance doesn't cover it,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's the major difference. So while your real estate license can allow you to do property management, your brokerage may not allow it because it's not protected under that. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So, Manuel, as we all know, as agents, we sometimes have to get certified to do other areas in real estate, right? For example, commercial. You can't just go into commercial and start doing it, without having some sort of education on it.
Yeah.
Property management falls in the same area. Is that correct?
It does. So there are, one of the major things in real estate, and Elda alluded to it, is that yeah, if you're not very proficient in commercial real estate, then pass that off to someone else,
Mm-hmm.
right? Same thing goes with if you're not proficient in farm and ranch, or let's say beachfront properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to go ahead and make sure that you are knowledgeable in that specific area. And
Mm-hmm.
the same thing applies with property management. There are
Mm-hmm.
courses you can take. There are certifications
Mm-hmm.
that you can go ahead and pass on there. They're not required, but they're encouraged. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like any designation, that just makes you look much more prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So they are.
I'm so glad we have property management because I honestly haven't had like the best experience with rentals. I have some investors and some experiences have been great and have been awesome, but I do have two really bad experiences. So with that being said, Manuel, what as a property management do you do? Do you do the hard stuff like evictions?
Yes, yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
And no, that's one of the things, right? It's a learning process.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, and as managing our own properties, you come across certain situations where you do have to. They mess up the property, right? You have to go in there. These are tough conversations. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. You're gonna have to have conversations on there,
Mm-hmm.
and as you do it, you're as over the years I've done it. It's okay. Next time I'm gonna do this differently. Next time
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put a policy in place that can prevent that, right? And so yeah, I do have those evictions on there. It's a streamlined process that I do. Everybody is the same. uh, let's talk evictions. If someone's late after the date on the contract, I go in there, I do the proper notice, I contact the tenant, um, tell them that this is a situation, what to expect. And the other part of it is that a lot of times you have to have that ability to have that really difficult conversation. And so rather than shy away from someone not paying and hoping they pray, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, I'm just hoping they send the payment and I don't have to go do that. You're avoiding the problem. And my process is I'm contacting them, communicating with them, telling them, hey, I'm educating them on the eviction process. Hey, we're going to have to file for eviction. And they're, of course, telling us, give me to the fifth, give me to that. They say, well, that's going to happen. I want to work with you. You've been a great tenant, or hey, you've been a tenant. We're going to work with you. But I have to do my process. And this goes across the board because I have to keep it the same equally across every tenant that I come across. And I said, I'm gonna give you the notice. If you don't pay within the certain amount of time on the notice, I'm going to go to the courthouse. I'm going to file for eviction. The courthouse is going to reach out to you. And they're going to set a court date. And then that court date, we're going to go and be in front of the judge. And so, but anytime there, I'm working with you. What can we do to help out? What can we do? What do you need from us? Do you need notice so that you can pull money out of your an account? Do you need anything else so that you can go do it? And at any point, you pay the rent with the late fees. Everything's called off. Everything's called off, but it takes communication.
Right.
And I have some tenants that communicate with me. I have one right now. She contacted me. She's like, I need that notice in PDF format because I'm pulling money out of my 401k, and that's. But in order for me to pull it out, I need to have a notice from the landlord. And so I helped her out, right?
Oh, wow.
And so, but she was communicating. She was telling me what happened a couple of years ago. Same situation. The tenant was communicating with me, telling me exactly when the money was going to come in there, and when the money did come in, we just stopped the process.
Okay.
You know,
So explain to me one thing. How do you compare yourself maybe to what an attorney can do? Because I know attorneys can be really expensive as well. And so some of the attorneys can help you with the eviction process. You
yeah.
do basically the same, but you're not an attorney. Is that correct?
I'm not an attorney, and
Mm-hmm.
nor do I do any representation as far as as far as drafting anything else. I
Mm-hmm.
simply follow the terms of the lease agreement,
Mm-hmm.
and as far as when an eviction is, I follow the terms of the eviction to be able to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of what's the difference between an attorney, of course, they're practicing law,
Mm-hmm.
and they're able to use other resources that I may not. Perhaps they can include, and I don't know. I simply just stay within the terms of the lease
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
abide by that.
Okay.
Outside of that, I don't practice law. I don't interpret anything else other than I follow the terms of
Mm-hmm.
the lease agreement. While the attorney could possibly add stipulations to there
Mm-hmm.
because they know the law,
Mm-hmm.
because they know other, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do you use an attorney in case that is needed?
It's a last case scenario.
Okay.
I haven't
Yeah.
yet, I haven't yet on there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everything that we've done, again, it's because of communication, and we go and I haven't broken any terms of lease. I haven't done anything on my part that says, hey, you're not upholding your part as a landlord or anything. So no, I haven't yet
Mm-hmm.
at there, but it's a great resource to have. I have consulted with attorneys before.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great resource. I have paid for the time, thinking, well, look, if this comes up, what can I do? And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so,
Okay,
but not for a
awesome.
specific case.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, awesome. Well, I've had a little bit worse experiences, but we'll talk about that later. What has been your worst experience as a landlord? As a landlord, I guess as a landlord agent?
yeah. There's two cases. One was at the beginning where I didn't implement a strict requirement in terms of inspecting the house,
Mm-hmm.
and so when the house was turned in, it was a complete mess. So that was a pretty bad experience. It was early on, and they completely, in my eyes, in a short amount of time, did a lot of damage to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Things that could have been prevented had I implemented a an inspection schedule,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I started doing. After that, you learn well, okay, I'm gonna have to be strict on the inspection. I'm gonna have to go in there and then notify them and let them know.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was, oddly enough, being a little bit too nice on the eviction. Um, it was during COVID time. There was a lot of rental assistance at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was helping she was communicating with me all the time, so that was one thing. Then, and she had been a great tenant up until that time, up until COVID, right? And so we worked out a game plan. She needed to have time. She started applying for assistance through some of the government programs through the
Mm-hmm.
county, and so I helped her. I helped out whatever she needed, paperwork on there. Ultimately, the process dragged on too long, and now we were on month 2 or 3 of not paying rent, and so uh, I had to file for eviction. I felt that I was doing everything that needed to be done. I was contacting the county. I was communicating with the county. Yes, she was still picking up the phone, but I felt that I don't think she was doing enough to expedite the situation
Mm-hmm.
or her assistance.
Mm-hmm.
And so ultimately, we had to file for eviction. Of course, that's not an easy process. So, to another month and a half of not paying rent. Now we're at months 4 and 5,
Yeah.
and so that's
Yeah.
and it was because I didn't follow the process. I understood I was going to help her with the
Mm-hmm.
rental assistance. However, I should have followed the process, eviction, file it, and then allow the court to do the
Because it is
situation.
time consuming. There are things that you need to do within
Just the
that
eviction
time.
process alone,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And
Yes.
then, of course, she had been a great tenant, and again, it was all about communication. She had communicated with us, so I said, "Yes, I'll help you out."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew that other landlords were getting assistance. There was a eviction moratorium at the moment at the time, so it was kind of a gray area. Ultimately, after several months, we had to file for eviction, and we ended up winning,
Mm-hmm.
even though there was a kind of moratorium on evictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we did everything that we could
Yeah.
on our end. So
Yeah. So I know you are an agent, so
yes,
you can represent a landlord,
yes,
right? And then you can take over property management. How is it that you work with agents that are outside and we come over to you and say, hey,
yeah,
Manuel, can you be my client's property management?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I love that that I can work with other agents, and whether
Mm-hmm.
it's we sit down and talk about how we can help them prepare their landlord to be a landlord. A lot of times it's first time landlords. So I definitely work with agents and let them know, say, hey, this is how we can educate your landlord. And then the other part of it is that anybody that you recommend to me, they're always your client. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I can represent on that back end. However, in my property management contract, I don't represent them on the listing of their property, on the sale of their property, even if it's within the tenant or anything. I completely am just handling the management of it.
Okay.
So I don't handle any of the sale. If the tenant wants to buy from the landlord, throw it back to the agent that referred me.
Okay. So your job actually begins the moment they move in,
The moment they move
right?
in, yeah,
If another agent is working in.
yes.
But if you were to be the agent, then you take the process from the beginning all the way to the end.
Yeah, two different companies though.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear,
Okay.
two different companies though. Yes, as I am the owner of the property management company, it's two different companies that do their job. So
Okay.
it's the brokerage. Picket Realty is the
Mm-hmm.
one that leases the property, finds the tenant,
Mm-hmm.
qualifies the tenant, or helps the landlord qualify the tenant and
Mm-hmm.
help move in.
Mm-hmm.
That's Picket Realty. After that, once the tenant moves in, their representation, Picket's representation with that landlord
Mm-hmm.
ends, and then mine, Eagle Property Management, takes over from there. So it's
Okay.
two different
Awesome.
companies, two
Yes.
different processes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So I know we can't really talk about fees because fees change throughout,
yeah.
but an approximation, what is the cost or an approximate cost that a landlord may have
Landlord.
with you? Yes,
So,
as property management only.
right. And so right now,
Mm-hmm.
we are, because we just launched this summer, we are having a special. However, it's once that expires, it's typically going to run between 8 and 9% of the rental amount
Okay.
per unit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's typically the amount that we're going to charge, 8 to 9%. The 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 reason of the discount is if you have multiple properties. Let's say it's a fourplex.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it's a small multi-unit, then we can
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and lower that because it is
Mm-hmm.
one property and multiple
Mm-hmm.
doors.
Right.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Outside of that, it's
Mm-hmm.
9%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
So tell me, how many properties, how many doors do you have?
so I just did the numbers right now. We're done on
Uh-huh.
there right now.
Yeah.
So I have uh, two single families, two condos, and a fourplex. So can't do the math real quick, but I think that's six.
Yes. No.
Six. No, seven.
6, 7, 8. That's 8.
Eight
That's
property.
8 because you
Eight.
have 2 single,
That's right, but
2
two are vacant.
condos, and
Two
oh,
are
okay,
vacant.
okay, okay,
Two are vacant.
okay.
So they have to be leased out.
Wow, well,
Yeah. Thank you.
congratulations.
Yeah.
So proud of you.
Thank you.
So your business is not just by yourself. Tell us a little bit about that.
No,
That's working.
no. This is a long time. This is a long term goal. Long time
Uh-huh.
goal of mine. I've been talking about this for
Mhm.
probably a couple of years now, and finally decided to go ahead and launch the business this summer or right before the summer started. I
Mhm.
started making progress on there,
Mhm.
and my son came came home from college.
Mhm.
Came home from college, and he was like, "Dad, you know what? I missed out on some applications for some summer jobs. I'm gonna try to work." And I saw that, of course, he could have worked at anywhere, right?
Mhm.
Could have worked at Kroger, could have worked anywhere else. And I said, you know what? Um, why before you do that, why don't you come work with me? I need help. I said, I
Mhm.
just filed for the LLC for the property management company,
Uh-huh.
but I was really just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
I needed help. And so he came in and he took the back end. He followed through with getting a lot of the upstart from filing completing the LLC paperwork, completing the IRS paperwork, completing,
Wow.
getting, and then upstarting our social media marketing, getting some of the platforms ready to go, started
Mhm.
researching, really helping out on the back end and organizing a lot of things.
So the business is between you and your son, Manuel. Yes, Manuel.
Yeah, yeah. His name is Manuel
Yes.
también as well. So his name is
Uh-huh.
Manuel as well. And so he just moved back to Lubbock. He just moved
Mhm.
back to Lubbock about 3 weeks ago. And so I have had a little bit difficulty not having him here. He's getting adjusted with his school schedule. Now we're having conversations. I was like, okay, what can we do to work together? So he's going to be working from there. Right now, he's also fielding phone calls, right? So
Mhm.
he's a point of contact for the tenants.
Mhm.
If anything happens, he's the point of contact on there. He's listed as a point of
Mhm.
contact. We're working on getting an answering service in the next couple of months, so that way we can just be answering to the answering service.
Mhm.
But right now, he's helping with the back end still with social media marketing, creating some of the platforms in the background,
Mhm.
getting some of the again fielding phone calls and getting vendors and all these things. He's also looking to see where we can plug in and be
Mhm.
sponsors and put our
Awesome.
name out there. So yeah. So he's thank you. He's
Congratulations.
working on the background on that end. So right now.
Yeah, awesome. Well, congratulations, Manuel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. How do we
Absolutely.
get a hold of you? Someone is searching for you. How do we get a hold of
I'm easily found on social media, Manuel underscore Houston. So Manuel in Houston, that's my personal one. And then from there, you can link to my property management, Eagle Property Management. So right now, the best way to get a hold of us is, of course, through social media. Yeah,
you? Okay,
Manuel in Houston or Eagle Property Management.
awesome. Thank you so much, Manuel.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you.
This was
Yes,
fun.
most definitely.
Yeah.